What's on, Minifans? Back with another Zone Mortalis project. So this one's a simple one. It's just to make some toppers to make those platforms into the proper columns. Just using various items, mainly chipboard, and I do magnetize these as well, so you can put another support on top. Anyway, if you like anything in the vid, feel free to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to stay up to date. And I have some Amazon affiliate links down in the description below. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get on to crafting. Okie dokie. We start off, and I've made a template out on some chipboard, 2mm chipboard. There are 4 squares with a 7mm border going round, and then 4 squares with a 5mm border. And these are all 5x5 centimeters, so they'll fit on top of those platforms we've made, or I made previously. And then I go ahead and cut these out. For the inner bits, I just do it without a ruler, just slow and steady. Multiple passes, and then ping out the squares. The 4 squares from the 5mm border ones I keep for later. And then what I do after this is glue them together, 7mm on top of the 5mm border one, and I just use PVA glue for this. So what I've done now is I cut a few strips of chipboard 5mm wide, and then I cut them into lengths. So I've got 8 at 4 centimeter, then 8 at 3.6, and then I glue these on to the inside of the 5mm part, so they're resting on the 7mm square. That's why I have that lip. Alright, we're kind of on to detailing straight away. This is a bit of a small project. So I whack some, I think it's about 4mm wide cable tie down the sides, and then I put magnets in each corner, and I glue all this on mainly with super glue, bit of PVA as well for the cable ties. On the top section, I've made some marks at the centre. It's a centimetre apart either side where the cable ties are gone, and that's for rivets, and that's what I do now. So again, if you've not watched any of my videos, what I do is a bit of blue tack on a cocktail stick, whack some super glue down on something where it won't soak into, leave it for a minute, or a little while, I find it's a bit easier. Then I get the rivet, which is one of those fingernail beads, on the blue tack, dip it into the super glue, and then into place. So I do that on all 4 of these toppers. Little more detailing now. This is just using cardstock, and I cut a 5mm strip, and then did centimetre long sections with a 45-degree cut. So I've done 2 of these for each side of the topper. not the cable tie bit, and then I glue these on with PVA. Alright, on to the detailing of the sort of recessed part. So I have various pieces. I'm not going to walk all the way through this build. You can just see what I do. I have these like brass cog things my wife got me. So I use a couple of those. I have a few lids, and then I'm not sure what it's from. I have these two pieces which screw together from a pipe or something. But I saw off the base of that so they fit in almost flush. And I use the sawed off piece and then the top piece in another one. And then I use various gauges of wire. For one of the cogs, I do some bits of cocktail stick to go in between so it kind of looks like a vent. And then for the final one, I just make this shape out of chipboard. So I start off with a 2 by 2 centimeter square, cut a section out the top and put a cocktail stick there, and then I do an extra bit which fits around it at the top. So this is meant to be a hatch, and then for the handle I cut some wire in half, glue those sections on, and then a bit of wire, like real thin gauge wire in between. And then I rivet the hell out of that thing as well. There we go. I also use a few straws of different sizes to fit together. And then in the sawed off section of that pipe joiner thing I used, I cut a section out of... I used them before. I think they're to help with drainage in a flower pot, but it's almost like granny grating. So I cut a section out of that and glued that into the top of that bit. Alright, after that's done, I Mod Podge the whole lot, watered down Mod Podge, seal it all, and then prime black, and then base coat burnt umber. And so I've blue tacked all these to old paint pots, and you notice these paint pots, they're still all going strong, which is quite amazing, because they're probably, I've had them for maybe 10 to 15 years, old Citadel paints. Anyway, we start off with a heavy dry brush of dark silver, and then after that's dried, we go in with a real light dry brush of light silver. Then for the wires, or pipes in this case, I do a lightish blue and then a few red. And for a bit of colour variation, I paint the 2 cogs a sort of old gold. Once all this is dried, I give it a once over with that black wash I've made, and I dab just a little bit off certain sections. And then we're on to rust and dirt and grime. So I sponge on some burnt umber in various places. Then once that's dried, sponge on some orange over the top. And that's the end of the project. Here's some photos of the finished pieces. I think they turned out really well for such a simple project. It looked cool on top of the platforms previously made. I've got, I think, one more project to do for the Zone Mortalis, or maybe more, but at least one more. That will be the next video, probably. Anyway, I hope to see you in the next vid. Cheers for now.